Okay, today we're going to do some maintenance on an 03 GMC Yukon. This time we're going to change the transmission fluid and the gasket and the filter. So I ran down to the O'Reilly's. I picked up the filter and the gasket for about $9.99, about $10. And then the oil, 5 quarts of automatic transmission fluid, came to $20. So for $30, we're going to change about half the transmission fluid, so get some longer use out of this transmission. All right, if it's cold, I like to kind of leave the gasket out, get it kind of a little bit warm before I install it. Okay, but before you go taking the pan off, take the gasket and put it around the pan and make sure all the holes line up with the bolts. That way you know you've got the right one. Otherwise, you'll need to run back to the parts store. Okay, here's the transmission pan, and there's the drain plug. Now this plug would not come out for anything, so I'd have to do it the old-fashioned way anyway. So most cars don't have a drain plug, and so if you can kind of see where the bolt right up there was that I pulled out. Okay, so what you do is you pull out the 2 corner ones and then slowly loosen the ones back, and it'll start draining from that corner. You can kind of see it drip right there. And then you just got to keep lifting up the back or the front of the car, depending on which corner is the easiest for you to get the oil out of. And then once you can't jack the car up anymore or whatnot to get it out, then you can start to just pull the pan down, and then hopefully the pan will only be a quarter full. And that's the next step. Okay. But here's what it should look like when you're draining the rest of the fluid. See the angle of it? Right there, all the bolts are out. Angling, draining into a pan. There you go. Okay. Okay, once you get the pan out, you might have to move some, a lever or a bracket to get the pan out, or use a pry bar. There's the old gasket, take that off, clean up the pan where the gasket goes, and then put a little sealant, non-hardening sealant on there, just like so. Then you'll take the new gasket, like so, and you'll put it on here. That way, and then let it sit for maybe 10 minutes to let it kind of stick to the gasket, so it doesn't move around when you're trying to get the pan back in. Okay, now before you put the pan back in, here is the old filter, kind of a plastic one, and I've already installed the new one. All you do is you push it up in there. See that the tube? Push that tube up so the flat part of the filter lays flat with the transmission valve body. Alright, that's what it looks like. Kind of too close to it, but there's the filter, new one, the valve body, and there's the holes for the bolts. Okay, there's the exhaust pipe that's in the way. There's the pan with the new gasket on it. We're just going to stick it up in there, tighten them down to like 15 to 20 pounds pressure is all. And then we'll start putting fluid in. Okay, now that we've got the pan back on the transmission, we need to put the fluid in. Okay, now I already went ahead and did it, but right here is the transmission oil, and this is right here is the oil dipstick. So you're going to take the transmission dipstick out, okay, go like that, set it down, and you stick a little funnel into the hole where the dipstick came out of. Okay, that's a little different than what you're doing with the oil. Then you're going to take the oil right here, and you're going to dump some in here. Now when you go to a parts store or read it in your manual, it'll tell you how much is going to drop out when you do the filter change. This one was 5 quarts. So I looked at the bucket to make sure that it was about 5 quarts, so I put about 3.5 quarts in. Then you take the funnel back out, you turn your car on. I like to run it through the gears, so just do the shifter through the gears to make sure the fluid gets all the way through it. and then put it back into park, and then check it. Okay, go back down, come back out, read it, wipe it off, and then put it back in. And then keep doing it, keep filling it with your funnel until it's totally full. This one actually took about 4.5 quarts to get it totally full. So after that, just put the dipstick back in and close your lid, drive it around, make sure it's shifting correctly. If not, then you need to check the fluid again, because even a pint can actually make it shift different. If you have any questions, just leave a comment at thetestdriver.com.